I'm Minesh Baxi here, and I'm really excited to share a few moments with Coach Dave here, who has been extremely instrumental in my son's situation, and we'll talk more about that in a minute here. So, Coach Dave, welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah. So this program is about positive parenting, how to parent, how to bring up children, how to raise them during these challenging times. And I'm sure challenging times have always been there, but it's, I think, different for different times. And Coach Dave does a great job of being the coach at the Flagler Palm Coast High School. And I ran into him a little bit a year and a half ago, and I'll talk about that. But first of all, Coach Dave, what brought you into doing what you do, because you obviously have a huge passion for it.
Um, it was over a little bit of time, but I think during college I figured out where my niche was, where my passion was, and it was all about helping people. But I help kids and people through education and through coaching. So that's kind of my venue that I use to help kids and help parents and people be better people. So it's a fun and challenging avenue.
Well, obviously, I see that you are driven with a mission, with a lot of energy towards helping children. And for those who may not know, my son is 15 years old, turning 16 next month, and we have homeschooled our children. And I literally walked or ran into Coach Dave one day while I was walking over the bridge near the ocean. And he said, Minesh, your son can join as well. And I was like, hey, my son is homeschooled. He's like, no problems. As long as you get the clearance, you got the whatever ID is required, he can join. And let me tell you, it has been the best thing that has happened to him in his growth, period. Period. I have not seen him grow like he has by being part of your coaching, by being part of the team that he is in as well. So when you bring people in, obviously you are excited. How do you mold them from, like, my son had never done any running. I think he was throwing up the next day, right? Where he is now part of a team. He looks forward to coming and meeting with you, the other people, and running as well. So tell me a little bit about your thinking behind that.
So a lot of times I think people get confused that sports is about the X's and O's and the athletes and everything like that, but it's really more about the personalities and the people and the expectations, the organizations, the social structure, and how that works. And I've been very fortunate. This is my 30th year coaching. It's my 20th year at FPC. I had two daughters of my own that both graduated from Florida State University. So I've been a parent myself, but then as my wife says, there's been thousands of boys and girls that we've been parents to as well for 4 years at a time. So I've been very fortunate to be able to impact youth like I have. But I always kind of say I do what I do, and I know that probably sounds too simple. But we just set a structure for what the team's going to be as far as our procedures, our rules, our expectations. And I really kind of try to stay away from the word rules as well. We just have expectations. There's expectations of how you're going to behave, how you're going to treat other people, how you're going to work hard, how you're going to take care of your grades, all those sort of things. So it doesn't become quite as like a box of rules that you have to follow. It's just, these are expectations. And this is, if you're going to be a part of this program, this is how we expect you to act and behave. Knowing that kids will always make mistakes. And I think you always have to be able to give them a chance to correct those mistakes. I never fire people right off the bat. And kids and teenage kids are going to make poor decisions, as my wife says, but we have to help them figure out the right decisions. So there's just so many opportunities for the kids to be successful, whether it's socially or academically or obviously athletically. So the thing that I enjoy about both of the sports that I coach, cross country and track, are they are pretty objective. It's based on the clock or the measuring tape or the time, but each person can measure their growth there. So you can be the best person in the state, or you could be just another kid on the team, but you can see your growth and your improvement. And it's kind of like the old adage where you work hard and then you get a little better and then you become a little more successful, and then you get excited about that and you want to work a little harder, and then you work a little harder and you become a little more successful, and you work a little harder and you become a little more successful. And I think it applies obviously to life, to academics. It's my little niche where I can use that to teach kids is through athletics. But they can see, good things are going to happen to people that work hard and put in the effort. But they also know there's going to be pitfalls, there's going to be injuries, and then it's not your, that something happens to you. It's what is your response. And sometimes people say reactions, but I think response is a better word. How do you respond to something that's adverse? And if you can look at every time that something goes awry or goes a little wrong, or a little setback, you can look at that not as a setback, but as an opportunity for growth, then you keep on moving. And it's just very so much like life in general. And I think if you can teach kids that at 14, 15, 16, 17, it transfers over into college if that's what they do, or it transfers over to the military if that's what they do, or into the workforce.
Very good point. My opinion, having been in the area of coaching for so long as well, but on the business side of it, is people are craving for transformation and recognition. And this is an internal drive they have. And in your situation as a coach, you're helping people see themselves tracking their growth as a transformation. Because they can look back and say, at one time, like my son, he had never run before. And now he's running. He's more happy with his progress than he has ever been seen in any other area of life, for that matter. And he's also recognized by being on the team, by seeing his numbers, and by being supported by the people around him, has made a big difference. And I think if we all as parents kept focusing on how can I help transform my kid to see the growth that they can actually have, and then simultaneously recognize them for their positive efforts like you do, you give trophies and stuff, and I think it's tomorrow that the banquet is, right? So
Correct.
it's again opportunity to bring that sense of fulfillment for people, and you are bringing that and training them, which is going to be the best thing for them for the rest of their life. I'm looking forward to my son having those habits for the rest of his life. So
yes, no, I agree. And the, like I said, just having those opportunities, and the kids can track their own growth, and like I said, they get excited about the positive reinforcement that they have there, but they also learn to deal with the negative setbacks or whatever, and how they can use that as an opportunity, and that it's not gloom and doom. But like I said, kids will make mistakes, and you just have to let them know that there are high expectations and there are ways to correct those mistakes. There may be repercussions for certain actions and stuff like that, but at the end of the day, we want kids to be able to learn from that and grow, and not just see everything as a punishment, etc.
totally. Now you have kids, as you said, and you have guided them. So how did you share your values in different areas, including career, money management, etc., as a parent? Obviously, I know you have a pretty grueling schedule.
Yeah, and both my wife and I are in education. She's the director of ESE for Flagler County Schools. She earned her doctorate. So we always were trying to better ourselves. So we both graduated from the University of Florida. We were married young, in our early 20s, had a family early. And sometimes I look back and think that I was totally crazy, but somehow was able to juggle everything. But both of us are very competitive, and I think we were on the same page with how we wanted to parent, what our expectations were of our children. We were both in education, so our expectation obviously is that they took care of their academics, that they were very proactive with their academics, and that the respect that they gave their teachers and coaches. I mean, that was obviously it was a given because of the background of their parents, that's how they were going to treat people. My wife started out in physical education, but then moved into students with disabilities and ESE. So our kids were also, I say, very lucky to be surrounded by all types of individuals when they were little, as me too. My children were around all types of athletes when they were 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They were around kids that were high school kids, and they saw kids that worked hard and did really good things. They saw kids that made mistakes, and they had to correct those mistakes. And they saw some kids that made mistakes, and that changed their life trajectory. But they were around kids of all creeds, colors, and I think that made a difference too. That they're very understanding of the wide world of people that we have, and that everybody has something to contribute. And I think our kids were very lucky because of their parents, that they were around kids with disabilities, that they were around kids from different countries, different backgrounds, different ethnicities, different socioeconomic backgrounds, where we had some kids have to stay at our house because of their home life was not good. Where we worked, where the kids worked at a food pantry, and lots of giving. But then knowing from all that experience how important academics were, to continue that, to go to college, to get their college degree, and then us, probably like anybody, made financial mistakes along the way, and we're as good and great and as comfortable as we've ever been. And we went to Greece last year, and doing all the things that 30 years ago we thought we would never do. And that sort of stuff is obviously very exciting, fulfilling for my wife and I. But it demonstrates to our kids what you need to do. And so I smile upon them, their ability to save and invest at a young age in their early 20s. They're in way better shape than we were. And that's exciting to see. You want your kids to do better than you did.
Absolutely, I agree with you 100%. And congratulations. And like you said, you had a great trip to Greece, and that's because you were able to do the right things about money. And I have a simple focus, maybe you know this or not, but my goal is to help people get out of debt, make sure that they are saving for the future, whatever those goals are, and also protect in case something, unforeseen happens in that. So, and the second part is I'm looking to train people in that same area. So I'm always looking for people who are saying, hey, you know what? I would like to learn more about money, and I would like to be able to share that with other people as well. Because 80% people, Coach Dave, maybe you know this or not, but 80% of full-time workers in US live paycheck to paycheck.
No, 100%. Yeah. And that is we were there at one point, but that being a difference now, it's obviously it's just very fulfilling, I guess, comforting, knowing that you just don't have to worry about that. So, and I can tell you, for an example, just this fall, my wife, I typically manage most of the money or whatever, but like, she went to go withdraw some money. She was going to see her sister in New Orleans, and for a half a second, she said, she was like, oh gosh, I wonder how much money's in here. Is there enough money if I pull out a couple $100 or whatever? And then she looked at the account and she was like, oh, okay, this is way different than 20 years ago. And she had that little, like, kind of flashback to when we were first married and we were young, and hadn't, education didn't pay as well, and we were living paycheck to paycheck. So it is I don't know, funny, it's interesting. Just, I mean, if after you work hard, you save, you do all the right things, and you keep moving forward, how many windows and opportunities open up.
Exactly. And I remember those days as well, you know, when we were newly married and all that kind of stuff. I'm sure we all can relate to having gone through struggles when the money was tight. And I was new from India. I didn't know much about this culture either. I made way more mistakes than I should have made. So anybody who's watching and listening and is saying, hey, you have to be perfect. No, one of the key reasons people are not seeking help is that too embarrassed, humiliated to go talk to somebody. Like I was talking to a couple of days ago, and the husband became a little hostile. And I realized it's because he has so much fear. Do you know what I'm saying? He doesn't
Oh,
want
of
to
course.
disclose his situation. It's like,
Yep.
I understand that. Hey, I'm here to support. But I was very patient and I was able to help them through thinking through that because I don't want anybody to feel that the help is not available. Do you know what I'm talking about? Right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. One of
And
my
and
best.
and and, and
Mhm.
getting people to open up for help, whatever that may be,
Correct.
whether it's financial help, emotional help, um, whatever. Uh, Getting them to be comfortable and be able to ask is huge. And on that little point, I think one of the key things, if you are a leader or an educator, is your authenticity and your empathy, um, that those characteristics shine through, to help people be at ease and to trust you, to build the trust and comfort level to learn, grow, etc.
Exactly. And everybody has problems, everybody has challenges. And as a society, if we were more open to sharing each other's situations, problems in a way that we can get the support, whatever coaching we need, and take the steps to go to the next level, I think we all can be easily in a better place. And that's where I come from as well. So, Coach Dave, any last thoughts, any comments you have?
No, I think that's about it. If you ever want me to come back on again, I can talk all day. So.
Well, my daughter has a podcast called I Love Flagler County, and I would love to have you be featured on that because she's obviously, getting to know people here, and you are a great inspiration, and you are at Flagler County for a reason. So the topic is why I love Flagler County. So if you want to be on podcast for that, I'll have my daughter reach out to you.
Okay.
Because it's one of those things which I think is helpful for people to come together as a community, bring that support. As a coach, you are doing a fantastic job, all for the children, but also I think the parents are enjoying being part of the team as well.
Thank you, and I appreciate it.